To all the people who want to rebuke us,
this should be a private practice. You should keep that to yourself. People aren't supposed to know this stuff. This our ancestors have had to hide. We had to be private. We've had to be quiet. And now we're loud. We're being in our truth. We're being in our power. We're not going to keep hiding. We're not going to keep pretending.
Are you going to pass down and tell your children, don't ask questions?
We're just trying to practice what our ancestors had before they conquered.
Nobody should ever tell you or condemn you for asking questions.
You're afraid of everything. Everything is demonic. Every little thing is scary, demonic, of the devil.
Why do you get scared? Who made you afraid of it? It is conditioning. You have been conditioned to feel that way. You can't even ask questions. Get out. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to hell. We will not be rebuked. Welcome back to the Conjure Confessions. I am Lala Nutiyahari.
I'm Kayla Briyahari.
Ari Maria Hari.
And we are here to bring you the unapologetic truth, spiritual truth, and a little bit of tea sometimes. Today, we want to talk about the response that we've been getting from our show, our reality show. Obviously, the Conjure family has been on all the blogs and it's been in the media. And the first thing that we've noted, well, not the first thing, because there are a lot of people who appreciate the show, who support the show. Mm-hmm. Shout out to you guys who love us, and even if you don't know us, you're open to learning about what we're bringing, right? Mm-hmm. So we do appreciate that, right? But there was a lot of people who also didn't understand what we do, who we are. I know that the trailer does talk about the word witch. And some people were really thrown off by that. So we want to address some of that. We want to also address some of the people who wanted to rebuke us in the name of Jesus.
It's a lot of that.
So that is interesting that we have to be banished pretty much for our faith.
There were even people that were like, so we're really going to normalize this? Yeah.
Well, it should be normalized. What should be normalized is to ask questions, right?
Yeah, what they don't realize, though, it's already normal. You just don't want to accept it. It's been normalized already.
It actually has. It actually has. There's a whole community, a whole spiritual community of beautiful people who are controlling their own realities, who are, practicing their ancestral, practices and faiths, and it's nothing wrong with it. I just feel like I don't understand why, and maybe I just don't understand because I feel like I've always been the kind of person that always asks questions. That's just who I've been in almost every area of my life, and that has brought me far because I always love to learn. If I don't understand something, I want to learn it, right? Mm-hmm. So for me, I would ask the question, don't you want to learn it?
I think that's kind of where it starts, is asking questions. And some people jump to their own assumptions and conclusions off of witch. And then they just end right there. And so I feel like, well, for one, it's clear that the word witch carries a very, very heavy weight. So much that people are so quick to just stop right there. They don't want to ask any questions. They don't want to know anything else. They've already made up in their mind their opinion about it. And so that's just where a lot of people just kind of stop. They don't ask questions. They don't try to understand or learn more. And then honestly, even with knowing that that word carries a heavy weight in history of misunderstanding. Yeah. Aside from that, we're spiritualists. There's a lot of people who just have a spiritual practice who, are protecting their homes, who are cleansing themselves and healing themselves. And, a lot of herbalists, like they all kind of can fall under that category and just being a spiritualist and being connected. And connected to your ancestry as well. And definitely,
most importantly,
most definitely African spiritual practices and religions, but especially Hoodoo, with it not being a religion but having religious influence. Like, there's a lot of people that are religious that practice Hoodoo because it doesn't interfere. It's about being connected. Mm-hmm. So asking questions is the first way to start and really understand what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So that you're not jumping to conclusions. It might actually be something that you can dive further into and maybe even connect with on your own.
And be just as powerful and change the whole direction of your lineage. Change everything. Break generational curses when it comes to prosperity, when it comes to healing and growth. You can literally change the direction. When I started my spiritual journey and I really dove into it, because I've always been spiritual, but when I really decided to say, hey, I'm going to go deeper, it changed my life. It didn't just change my life. It changed the direction of my daughters' lives, all three of them. It changed the direction of some of my family members, a lot of my family. It changed the direction of the tens of thousands of people that I have helped all over the world. It's changed their lives. So that one decision that it took for me to say, hey, I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to start asking questions. I want to know more. And not only did I know more, because faith without work is dead, and to me, so is knowledge. You can have all the knowledge in the world about something, but if you're not practicing it and you're not applying it, then it makes no difference at all that you know it, right? Mm-hmm. So this goes out to the conscious community too. Conscious, you woken up. You're not a part of any systems, or you feel like you've broken away from a lot of systems. That's cool, but then what are you doing too? You may have the knowledge and the bravery and the courage to break free from these systems, but what else are you doing? You do intellectually, you're great, but spiritually, how are you doing? And so I even challenge some of the conscious community to even go deeper when it comes to your spirituality.
So as far as the show goes, even when the Shade Room posted it, I seen some comments saying oh, if you're a witch, why would you expose that? Or why would you tell us that if you're supposed to be a witch? Or if you're supposed to be a witch, isn't that supposed to be in confidence?
But it's not supposed to be, we're supposed to keep it private, right?
Yeah, it's just huh?
But see, then where does that come from?
Right.
Where does you have to hide it? Where does that stem from? Right?
Slavery. What are we afraid of?
Thank you. Where? Say it again.
Slavery.
Hello. Where our ancestors had to hide it.
Oppression.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So now they're telling you that if you were a real witch or you were a real root worker, you have to hide it. You don't have to hide shit anymore. You don't. Yeah. We are not our ancestors who were, beaten and enslaved for having and feeling and gaining their own power. Mm-hmm. We're bringing that power to you now so you can understand that, it's yours and you don't have to hide it. And you can be unapologetic
you can't
with
make
it.
us hide it. You can't push us into hiding or scare us into
We're not going to be repeating the past. Like people are acting out ancestral traumas right now. And we're not about to keep repeating the past. We're not going to keep hiding. We're not going to keep pretending like how our ancestors did before. You are free to be yourself. You're free to act in your truth. And you are free to practice whatever it is that you want to practice.
And do that unapologetically. The same way people get up and go to a church or a Catholic church where there is, pedophilia. They didn't stop going to those churches, right? The same way you go to the church where the pastor or the leadership in the church are sleeping with multiple people in the church, where there's adultery, There's abuse. Still go to those churches.
And they spend all your money. They do.
I just like the way you said it. But yeah, no, really, it is like, be unapologetic. You know, there's going to always be something bad to say about every single religion, about every single practice. Yes, there is a negative and a left-hand path when it comes to hoodoo, when it comes to voodoo. Yes, there is. There is also that same negative path when it comes to Christianity, when it comes to Islam, when it comes to Hindu.
One of the points I wanted to add, because I know that some people are like, oh, not everything your ancestors did was good. And, you know, you shouldn't follow what your ancestors did. And it's like, and, you know, they always use that in regards to hoodoo and other African traditional practices and religions in favor of Christianity, in favor of these religions that, I mean, we should all have that understanding of our history. It was forced upon our ancestors.
Yeah.
And so when you think about, oh, no, not everything our ancestors did was good, but when you think about the European settlers that came here on land that was already occupied, took over the land, took over the people, stripped them of their religion, their culture, their practices, did a lot of stuff. I won't even give any details, but a lot of people were murdered.
There's a lot of essay
here. I guess that's one way to say it. But yeah, it was forced upon our ancestors too. So not everything that they did was good either. On top of the whole conquest of the world, basically. I mean, we're just trying to practice our ancestors' practices, and you guys are comparing it to these people and this group of people who are literally trying to take over the world and spread their ideologies through murder and conquest. You know, we're just trying to practice what our ancestors had before they conquered our land.
When they were, I read this somewhere and I forgot what they called it. I don't know if you guys are going to know what I'm talking about when I say it, but even when they were saying how like the slaves would choose the water instead of enslaved.
I can't bring a word to it, but there were people who chose the water instead of slavery. When it comes to oppression, is you don't have to oppress anybody that you don't feel like is more powerful than you, right? If you are not threatened by me, if I don't mean that much to you and you think that I am clearly beneath you, right? Mm-hmm. You think you're more superior than me, there should be no reason for oppression, right? Oppression is a way to keep people, a group of people that you know are more powerful than you, down. So like I said, in other videos, we have come a long way.
Very much.
And without our spirituality, right? And I just feel like we are gaining back a lot of things that was taken from us. Obviously, we have a long way to go, but spiritually, we got that back. We can get that back. All it takes is for you to ask the questions. All it takes is for you to do the research. All it takes is for you to believe that you are more powerful than what they tell you are. People talk about, okay, well, Lala, you say spiritual oppression a lot. That's something that is never, ever talked about or discussed. For the people who are watching and you're a little confused on, like, she keeps saying spiritual oppression, I don't feel like I'm oppressed. I have my faith. I have my religion. It's been working for me and my family. This is what I believe, and I rebuke you. Okay, cool. But this is what I mean when I say spiritual oppression. You have been given a book, right? A book. Here's your book of life. This is your book of life. You open the book. It starts at chapter 20. 1 through 19, those chapters are gone. You're supposed to live by this book of life, starting from chapter 20. So at the beginning of the book, the origin of the story, the original place of the story, where the story really started and took place, how the story began, is missing from the book. But all of that that's missing from the book predates the book they gave you with the 20, starting at chapter 20. So the oppression isn't the fact that you don't have the beginning of the book. The oppression comes in when they tell you that to get over it. Get over it. Chapters 1 through 19 don't matter. That story of the book was burned and it needed to be burned. The oppression comes in when they start to control the beginning of your story. When they know that your story predates the information that they've given you. So that's where the oppression comes in, is they won't even, they tell you that it doesn't matter, get over it. That part of the book is evil, it's dark, you don't want to read it, you should never read it. You're going to be sinning. You're going to go to hell if you read it, if you search for it, if you want to know about it. That is oppression, for you not knowing your story spiritually, you being oppressed and condemned for picking up information that belongs to you.
And seeking truth.
And seeking the truth. Exactly. So we're here to do that. We're here to bring you the spirituality that was lost, that was condemned, that was broken, that was bent in Western media. You know, we're here to bring it back to you. So should we be rebuked for that? Or do you want to ask questions?
But what is that really doing for you anyway? It's just words. It's just the text. I rebuke you, and then what? Because we're just going to keep doing it. Like, it's not stopping anything. You just sent that little comment, and now what? Like, nothing changes.
I feel the same way when they condemn you for it, or even when they say more than I rebuke you, or they judge you for it. It's just like, okay, now what? Like, what did you get from that?
Exactly.
Do you feel
better? Did that
better?
change something for you?
Do you feel better? Does it make you feel good? Do you feel like you conquered and you controlled and you won something because you told me that to basically go to hell? Because I'm bringing you your own spirituality, the same spirituality that you've been taught to be afraid of. When I'm here telling you right in front of you, look at my life, that it is beautiful. We're not new to this. I know there's a lot of people who look at our story and think, oh, hell no, they let anybody on TV. We've been here for a very long time. We have been killing it in the spiritual community for a very long time. And not just us. There's a lot of other people winning in the spiritual community. So it's not just us. It's a whole community of people that want to bring awareness to the culture.
I do. Okay, I don't even know if I want to put this in, but this was something that was on my mind recently on this whole idea. Like, I don't even know if this should be put in, but it's like, do y'all think God is dumb or something? Because I really feel like they act like God is dumb when it comes to the fact that they sin so much. A lot of people identify as Christians and they're liars and cheaters and thieves.
Oh, God,
and
right?
they commit adultery. And at the end of the day, because you're a Christian, you think that saves you. Mm-hmm. Or even because you repent, that you think that still saves you, but you do it again. Like, imagine any type of person.
How many people are you hurting?
Exactly. That you disrespect, that you hurt, and then you apologize, and then you don't do anything about it, and then you do it again, and then you apologize. Like, don't you think they'd be tired of you?
It's just like, as long as I repent, I'm okay. Like, so you're going to repent 57 times before
and you're not going to change anything. And you literally have a guidebook on how to be a decent person, 10 commandments that are pretty decent rules to go by, and you don't even follow that.
And you know, with that being said, the religion does teach that you don't have to be perfect, right? But unfortunately, people do act like they are, or that you have to be that the minute that they cross over into that faith, now everybody around them has to be perfect, and now they have the right to judge.
Right.
And we talked about that before in the other in one of the other episodes, but just, you know, we're just here to help. We're just here to bring awareness. Yes, we have made money because I have amazing products that work. I do the work. I do the research. I have the practice. I do the hoodoo. I, you know, do the work, right? So we're not here to say, you know, or to turn you a certain way or anything. We're just talking to the rebukers, and we just kind of want to know, like, what is your agenda?
I had one more thing to add, whether this goes in or not, on the idea of, like, people, like, think, I don't know if you think that God is dumb or think you can outdo or even outsmart God, especially on the concept of, you know, being a good person for the sake of going to heaven. Like, you're not, like, if you know that you're going to be judged at the end of your life for the kind of person that you are, and you only choose to be a good person for the sake of going to heaven, that means that you are choosing to be good only if you get a reward at the end, which is not genuine. So how do you expect to be judged and judged as a good-hearted person when you're only good when you're getting a reward? And so that, to me, is like, do you think that you're trying to outsmart God?
It's conditional.
It's very conditional.
It's conditional.
Which
That's
is
not
why there's
really who
like
you
so
are.
many things, or so many aspects that allow you to avoid, you know, not just truth in yourself, but also avoid being a good-hearted person, because not only do you get the scapegoat of the devil, which allows you to avoid accountability, and then you get the reward at the end of your life that allows you to only be good when you get a reward. So then you're not even being a genuinely good person. Like, honestly, what kind of person would you be like if you didn't think that there was heaven waiting for you at the end? Would you still be a good-hearted person? Would you still do right by others, be kind to others, if you knew that there was no heaven waiting for you at the end?
I think that's a very good point. I think that the difference between that type of concept and true spirituality is we have ourselves to blame.
Yeah.
We believe in God in all things, but when it comes down to something that happened in my life, I'm not blaming spirit. I'm not blaming God. I'm not blaming the devil. I'm looking at it, I'm addressing it, and if there's something that I did wrong, I'm taking accountability for it and I'm fixing it. We put that on ourselves. So if I built a big business of, you know, or if I had some really big accomplishment, then I'm also giving myself credit. You know, yes, I do work with energies that I also give credit to, but at the end of the day, there's nobody there to blame. You know, there's no, oh, the devil's busy today, or the, you know.
Was the word you're looking for like excuse or like?
Yeah, they excuse it.
Yeah.
They make that's the excuse for everything. Is, oh, the devil's busy.
Yeah.
You know, or not today, devil, or whatever it is. But
Not
it's like,
today, Satan.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, but what did you do? What did you do? Are you taking responsibility and accountability for the things that you did? Like, and there's so much to lean on when it comes to religion.
It's a strong crutch.
It is a very big crutch. When you become stronger as a person, when you are spiritually aligned and you are spiritually strong and you believe in who you are and you take accountability and you try to become a better person through yourself, through the God in you, you become stronger and a better person. You even walk into rooms and people feel your energy, you know? So that's the difference of really nurturing the God body versus leaning on religion to where you have a scapegoat for everything.
I do think that, and that's, you know, some of the reasons why you can still be religious and still be spiritually strong at the same time. because I think there was a point in time where spirituality was a part of religion, but there was so much taken out, so much revised over time that it became more about structure and oppression and whatever was convenient at the time when it was revised to fit whatever customs that they wanted, whatever agenda.
Yeah.
So, but when you have those principles of accountability and, you know, taking accountability and being kind and being a good-hearted person, whether you get a reward or not, those are the aspects that can still make you spiritually strong, no matter if you're religious or not. So it's not even that being religious is the problem. It's the fact that certain religions have a structure in place that makes you avoid facing yourself. And that's what makes you spiritually strong, is when you face yourself and you face the darkest aspects of yourself. And that's another reason why taking a spiritual path can be, it requires a level of radical accountability. And I feel like that's why we see sometimes people are, you know, they start off religious, and then they take the spiritual path, and then they come back and they're like, oh, I, you know, used to be witch, or I used to be spiritual, and, you know, it's demonic and it's all these things wrong with it. And they're back to religion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When in reality, you couldn't face yourself. You couldn't take accountability. Mm-hmm. Religion can be such a strong crutch that it's hard when you let go of it. Some people need to come back because they're so used to it. They're so used to being held in that way where you don't have to take accountability.
Where they're able to throw off the blame.
Exactly. And they're usually able to shift blame. So that allows you to avoid taking accountability for the things that happen in your life, the things that you are responsible for, and the way that your life is too, due to your own decisions. You know, taking accountability is knowing that the life that you have based off of your decisions is what you chose for yourself. And when you can take accountability and, you know, realize that this is what I chose, then you can also choose differently. And that's when it becomes more empowering for you.
And do those things without the thought of there being a reward at the end or something good that's going to happen because you did it.
Yeah.
Like, just do it because it's
the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's what you need to do. It's the right thing to do.
And not everything is going to be easy.
Yeah, and there's not always going to be a reward for everything. Sometimes you just have to go through that, and it may suck, but there's no reward for it.
And not to say that Christians and the people in religion don't know what that's like or don't take accountability. We're just talking about the structure of it all to just say that, like, real spirituality, to be honest, is really just getting in tune with who you are, doing the work with who you are, healing, you know, parts of yourself that may have been experienced trauma. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, because one thing that I teach and what we believe is that when you heal and you take care of your spiritual body, it takes care of everything else. It takes care of the physical body. It takes care of the emotional body. It takes care of the mental. So taking care of yourself spiritually can actually fix a lot of things everywhere else. It's spirit first. Take care of who you are first spiritually, and then everything else usually does fall in line. That's what we teach, and that has worked for us, and it doesn't allow you to have a crutch. I know there's a lot of people that I will talk about, and I do want to bring this up in the spiritual community too, that there's this new thing too, where people start to have problems going on in their life, right? Like issues. And the first thing they think of, or if they have an issue in their relationship, the first thing they say is, oh, somebody put a curse on me. Same mindset. Mm-hmm. You see what I mean?
And that's why sometimes even in the spiritual community, when you're trying to get out of that box of religion, sometimes you can actually put yourself in a whole nother box.
Yep, exactly. You're going from one box to another. That's not free. And yes, there are spiritual attachments and everything, but you can't always believe that somebody is putting a curse on you. You can't always believe that that's always what it is.
Yeah, sometimes it's just your circumstances and something you got to deal with.
And guess what? Sometimes it's just you.
Yeah. Sometimes you're creating those for your circumstances.
You're creating this cycle of misery and pain for yourself because you can't break out of it.
And sometimes there's something within you internal that is manifesting in the physical because it wants you to acknowledge it and face it. Sometimes it's you needing to address something within yourself.
And if you don't, and you keep avoiding it, every time it comes back around, it's just going to be worse every time it comes back.
I agree.
So I wanted to go back to when we were talking about ancestral trauma and how, some people are basically playing that out when they want us to be quiet, or they say that this should be a private practice. You should keep that to yourself. People aren't supposed to know this stuff, and how that basically is playing out ancestral traumas and what our ancestors experienced already.
It is. You have to hide your faith. You have to hide who you are, your power, and most of all, your spiritual practice. Why would you want to hide it? I think that there's this thing too where people are like, we don't want it to be colonized. Honey, they already doing it.
That's what happened with religion.
Yeah, hello. And other people are already practicing it. And to be honest, there's a lot of non-POCs that are practicing hoodoo and getting all up in the sauce, and it's working for them, and they are killing it. And here you are rebuking us on the shade room. So it's like, they're not hiding it. They're not hiding that they're doing it. Why do we always have to hide?
Why do we always have to hide?
I think there's this thing of, okay, maybe if we just do it in silence, then, we'll be more powerful. And I'm not saying that that's not the case, that there's not power in silence, right? But there's so many people that do not know what this is, do not know their true power, have no idea about their ancestry, have no idea that this was hidden from them, have no idea that this is their birthright, have no idea how powerful this is and how it can change their lives and the whole path of their descendants' lives. Mm-hmm. Like that, there has to be somebody that's going to bring awareness, right? So we have to bring awareness to it. We can't just keep it quiet. So many people need to know it that don't know it. And I just feel like for so long, I've put myself on the front line with this. I've put my daughters on the front line for this. And we are bringing people awareness. We are waking people up. We are changing people's lives. And I'm not just saying, oh, a few people, this is a kitchen, business. No, this is a multi-million-dollar business. We've helped people for years all over the world. But then here in this country, actually, this country is the biggest, my biggest client base, right? However, there's so many people here that do not know and that do not understand. There's also so many people here that are searching.
But there are still people that do it, like what we do, they do it out in the open. Like even when Cardi B posted that spirit, Loa spirit, she wasn't condemned. She wasn't condemned for it. It's just because
Arisha,
we're,
I think.
No, Arisha. Okay, it was an Arisha. Mm-hmm. Oshosi.
Yeah,
I believe
right,
was the spirit.
like that. Right.
But she did it, and she wasn't condemned for it. But because we're so raw and truthful with it, and just like in your face with it, like, and not just posting a picture. Now it's, oh, I rebuke you. Oh, no, I don't want to, like.
Then you're standing in your actual truth, and you're letting people know what it really is. It's one thing to post something, and it's another to really own it and to own your power. And I think that that's something that people are afraid of too, is the exposure and visibility that comes from owning your power. It's scary. I get that. But it's something that needs to be done, because doing something like this and owning your truth and owning your power is what breaks generational curses. And right now we have a big, I would just say a generational trauma that is needing to be released. And part of that is owning your own power. For the longest, our ancestors have had to hide. We had to be private. We've had to be quiet. And now we're loud. We're being in our truth. We're being in our power, and we're owning our practice. We're owning our truth and our own spiritual authority. And that is scary to people, and it's triggering to people, and it's triggering the people who are afraid to step into their power. But that's the point. It is meant to shake things up, because it is meant to be, it's a weak foundation anyway. It's meant to come down. It is meant to crumble. because it doesn't stand in truth. And the truth is that Black people have always had power. We've always had our own power, and we've always had ancestral power. We've come very far as a people who, we look at our history and our ancestry already. We have come very, very far, and we're still coming into more and more power. But the one thing that is still missing, that has been here all along with us, that we've still refused to acknowledge, is our ancestral power that has been with us all along and is deserving of justice, because that's what this is too.
And
it's justice for our ancestors. Yes, they deserve to be acknowledged. And I'm not just talking about acknowledging your direct ancestry. Mm-hmm. It's about acknowledging the practices that our ancestors had that made them feel connected, the practices that they had that were shut down and oppressed and stripped from them. To honor this practice and to honor African traditional practices is to honor your ancestry and to bring acknowledgement and justice, because that's what they deserve.
Yeah, honesty. Woo. Thank you, Kayla. I think that the people that, seeing us come out in our truth, you're right, it is triggering to them, because you've been oppressed for so long that you can't let go of what you've been taught. And this may piss off the oppressor, right? And the people that benefit from us being oppressed. Mm-hmm. But why is it pissing off the people that it's for?
Right.
That's the problem.
None of that other stuff matters. It's for you.
It's for you. It's yours. It's already yours. It's already been yours.
It was given to you. It is your birthright.
You just got to step into it.
The fact that it is pissing off the people and the culture that it is for is letting you know that there is some level of oppression. If you are turning away something that is for you, then there's something in your mind that's telling you you don't deserve it. It is not yours.
You're not worthy.
And you're not worthy of it. That is oppression. There's something they're telling you to walk away from something that is yours, that will give you the power to live the way you want, to raise your kids the way you want, to heal the way you want, to grow and break generational curses. That is oppression. If you walk away from the ability to do that, that is oppression. And unfortunately, if you can't see that, then that's fine. But we're here for the people that are asking the questions. We're here for the people that want to learn, that want to know. And if you're not, we love you too. We just, sleep in peace. That's it's okay. But we're not going anywhere. We're not going to hell. We will not be rebuked. We do believe in Jesus as a deity. We do believe in gods. We do believe in angels. We're just here to teach you the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
And let you know that it's okay. And if you are ever in a place, I don't care where it is, whether it be religion, whether it be work, whether it be in a relationship, a friendship, nobody should ever tell you or condemn you for asking questions. Nobody. You should never be so content in a place to where you are condemned for asking questions. You should always be able to ask questions. And even if you get your answers and you're like, okay, I learned about it. I understand it. I actually like it. It's pretty cool, but I'm going to stay where I'm at. At least you know why. Mm-hmm. At least you asked the questions, you did the research, and now you understand, okay, it isn't for me. Because the truth is, it isn't for everybody. And that's okay. But at least you know why. Blind faith doesn't help anybody. If somebody has you so contained in a box,
yeah,
where you can't even ask questions, get out.
Yeah.
Period. Right. Get out. Or just ask the questions anyway. Because it's your life to live.
That's what bothers me so much about people who judge us now and even judge the show, like even us on the Shade Room and stuff. Like,
everybody's entitled to feel how they feel. You don't have to believe in the same thing and be a sheep and all those things. But like, to take your time out to judge and ridicule people and condemn people over something you've never even once tried to discover or test out yourself is just like, is such a closed-minded mindset. Like, and it's just like, if it's not this, then it's nothing. And it's like, that's not, then why is there multiple religions and multiple beliefs and multiple, like...
Yeah.
And a lot of them overlap.
Yes.
They all overlap and they all tell the same story.
I was going to say, it's about making decisions from a place of empowerment. You know, it actually, and I think people might want to be open-minded. They might want to ask questions, but I think on a deeper level, I think they're afraid of the answer. I think that they're afraid that the answer or the truth that they find out is going to shatter their belief system, is going to shatter everything that they think they know, and that they're going to have to move differently going forward once they find that truth. And sometimes it becomes that thing about ignorance being bliss, because they want to sit with where they're at, the comfort zone of where they're at. If they ask questions, if they find out the truth, then they might find out something that is going to change the way that they see things. And I think that some people are afraid of that. They're afraid of certain beliefs having to be changed, but that's necessary. And it's necessary for growth, too.
It is, because that's their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Mom talks about that a lot, too. It brings you out of your fantasy.
Yeah.
And delusions.
And your fantasy world. Trust me, I go to La La Land sometimes. I do understand, wanting something to be true, right?
Yeah.
But what if it isn't?
And that's the scary part.
And what if there's more? We're just saying to all the people who want to rebuke us, there's more. There's chapters 1 through 19 of the book of life that you've been given that have been ripped out, burned, and condemned, and forbidden for you to even ask the questions.
Any missing books in the Bible.
They don't want you to have your life in your own hands. They want you to wait. And even how they'd be like, oh, it just wasn't my time. Says who?
Says who?
Like, who said that?
That's where the accountability comes in, because you're the one that decides that, not anybody else. And you don't need anybody else's approval for that either. So also, when you find out the truth and you actually get over the discomfort of it being true, and you find out the truth, that's when you can make a decision from a place of clarity, of a place of truth, and knowing what is ideal for you. And then that is something that you can do from a place of clarity. You can make decisions from a place of clarity. And then what you do from there, that's you living in your truth. And that's the point. You find out the truth. It's going to shatter some beliefs, but then that allows you to live in your truth. So like what, Mom was saying, that if you do find out the truth and you learn more and you stay open-minded, you do some research and you realize, this probably still isn't for me. At least you're making that decision from a place of knowing the truth. So now you can actually live in your truth more fully. This can actually make you more connected and more deeper in whatever you're practicing currently, even if it is a religion, because now you are a part of this because you truly chose to be a part of it, and not because of some conditioning, not because you were raised to be this way, you were taught to be this way. You are literally choosing because now you know the truth, and despite the truth, you choose whatever it is that you choose. And that makes you stronger and more rooted in yourself and in your practice or religion or whatever it is that you're doing. That makes you more authentic in what you're doing.
I love it. And then what are you passing down? Let's talk about that. Because you're missing a lot of this information because it wasn't passed down, right? We've gained this information and knowledge, and we're here to bring it back to you. So when you talk about things being rooted in truth and you making a decision based off of truth, what are you passing down right now to the rebukers? Call them that, but what are you passing down? Are you passing down the truth? And can you 100% say, yes, I'm passing down the truth, even though you have not researched any other form of faith or you have not researched some of the things that you know could be meant for you. You know, some of you guys have African ancestry. Some have Native American ancestry. Some have both, like myself. But it is still history in that. History that has been broken, intentionally hidden with a conditioning method to make you feel like it's evil, it's dark, and never, ever ask the questions about it. Are you passing that down? Are you going to pass that down? Are you going to pass down and tell your children, don't ask questions? That's why we're here. That's what we're doing. We're having a conversation, bringing you the unapologetic truth so that you can at least ask the questions. That's all. Forget about the word witch.
Seriously.
Forget about all of that. Like, we're here to make you ask the questions. We're here to let you know that there's something bigger out there, and that's you. There's something bigger in you. There's something meant for you. There's something bigger that you need to learn, that you can research. And again, like I said, if it's not for them, right? Hey, but at least then again, you know, like Christina said, it's weird when you're just going hard for something and you don't know why.
Right.
You know, it's because your grandparents and then your mom and then everybody's taught from generation to generation to believe the same thing, and nobody asked the questions. Be the person that asks the questions. We talk about breaking generational curses, right? Mm-hmm. Let's break them. Ask the questions. You deserve it. And your kids, they deserve it. Your descendants, they deserve it. It's yours. It's already here.
That's why it's so important to bring back the truth, because as things get passed down from generation to generation, sometimes the truth gets distorted. And sometimes the truth just kind of dissipates. And so that's why we're at where we're at right now, because, you know, back to what I was saying in previous, episodes of this podcast about Hoodoo and how it started off as a survival, a survival practice, mm-hmm. because our ancestors weren't allowed to practice what they had before they were brought to Americas, before they became slaves. So they had to take certain elements and work with what they had and, you know, put white faces on it and, you know, add white names and hide it and incorporate religious influences just so they can appear like they are the Christians, when in reality they were secretly practicing their ancestors' practices.
Ancestral practice.
But as time went by, when Hoodoo was just meant as a way to continue to stay rooted in your history, it started to become condemned by our own people. Mm-hmm. And then they started to really take on Christianity like that's your own or something, when you know that it was forced on your ancestors. So as time went by, the truth got distorted, and what was supposed to be a way to root us back to our ancestors and our history it just kind of dissipated, and then was straight disregarded, abandoned, even disrespected. Our ancestral practices.
Yeah, very disrespected.
They only wanted us to remember the bad parts, or like the
exactly.
The bad parts. Unfortunately, like even in the history books, they don't remind us of
our power,
all the other stuff, or like how powerful we were. Right. Just the fact that we were just slaves and we had owners.
Some people are just learning about Ifa. Mm-hmm. It's been around for centuries. Right. You know, it's weird how we have to find out who we are, mm-hmm. because so much oppression.
Right. And we have to remind people. That's why this truth is important, is because now we have to remind people what the truth really is, and that this was a practice that our ancestors practiced. And when I say ancestors too, I don't just mean Africans. Hoodoo is so Black. Like, people don't realize it. This is literally Black culture. We try so hard to reconnect with the motherland and try different things, like wearing dashikis and trying other things to try to connect with Africa. And then you forget that you had something already that was already connected to you as a Black American. It was created by what, you know, now we consider Black people in America. Mm-hmm. That is literally ours. And that's what, you know, that's what's rooted in our culture too, is being Black in America, is that African experience during slavery and everything that we've been through up until this point, Hoodoo's been that. Hoodoo was the start of that. Hoodoo is our roots, and it's embedded in us too. So it's like we're and even down to like certain superstitions, like knocking on wood and throwing salt behind your shoulder. Like it's just little things like that.
It's carried throughout time, but it was renamed as superstition. Mm-hmm. All of us were raised, and they're like, "Oh, she's superstitious because she believed in something that was other than religion." Right?
Yeah,
that's just superstitious, right?
Or just treat it as something that you just knew.
Yeah,
you know, something that was passed down and you just knew this is something that my mom did, my grandma did. Like, you don't realize the roots of it was hoodoo in our history as Black people in America. And this is something that was literally created by us, for us. And that's why it's something that should be honored mostly by Black people in America above all else.
And you don't need anybody's approval.
No, you don't.
You don't need anybody's approval. So stop feeling like somebody's going to look at you weird. Stop feeling like there's a lot of people, even in the spiritual community, that are in the broom closet, is what we call it, that are practicing, and they're afraid. They're afraid of what people may think. There are a lot of people that want to know more about it, but they're afraid of what people will think.
Stand in your truth.
Let me tell you something. When I started walking this path, there were a lot of people who were afraid. There were a lot of people who were like, what? Wait, what? And here I am, standing in my truth with so much respect from my family, from my friends, from people all over the world, because I decided to stand in my truth. And I said, my people need to see this. They need to hear this. At the time we were marching and we were doing all kind of stuff. I don't want to go to march when I know I can just go to my altar or my altar room and light a candle and or whatever it is that I need to do. I don't have to do
our ancestors were not
a lot
marching.
of things, right? Exactly. So it's like it's just a way to move and level the playing field. It's already here. It's nature. Hoodoo is nature. Mm-hmm. Voodoo is a form of, it is a religion. But learn about it. Learn about Ifa. Learn about your Orishas. Learn about the natures and the universal laws, and just learn. Ask the questions. You are in this third dimension, and there's so much power that you can do here. You see people talk about the law of attraction. You see people talk about manifestation. You see people talk about you could do this to manifest and clear your mind and meditate. All these things you can do here to control your own reality. Why is Hoodoo so different? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ignore the feeling you get in your gut when it's like when somebody tells you, oh, she practices voodoo, and you immediately get scared. Question in that moment, why do you get scared? Who made you afraid of it? Mm-hmm. When somebody mentions hoodoo, oh, she does hoodoo, and you immediately, fall back, why? Mm-hmm. Do you know why you feel that way? It is conditioning. You have been conditioned to feel that way. It is yours. And there's nothing to be afraid of. If you are a good person and you thrive on being a better person, pick it up, learn it, or at least ask the questions.
Especially since hoodoo has a history of mostly being used for survival. It was used a lot for protection work and cleansing work. So, and then if you were to consider voodoo and vodou, that was used to protect and defend, and it helped with the Haitian Revolution. So when you think about stuff like that, too. Exactly. And when you think about stuff like that, it's like, what are you afraid of? That means there's something in you that needs to be evaluated so that you can understand, where is this fear coming from? Because to be real, there's some things you just don't need to be moving in fear. I mean, I think in general, you should not just be moving in fear. If you're afraid of everything is demonic. Every little thing is scary, demonic, of the devil, then what are you doing with your life? You need to evaluate. Exactly. It is giving anxiety. It's kind of giving spiritual psychosis. But you need to evaluate why you're so afraid of certain things so that you can get to the root of that and discover that some things actually don't need to be feared.
Right. I love it. We enjoyed talking to you guys and bringing some uncomfortable conversations and truths. Thank you once again for joining us on the 9th and the very last episode of the Conjure Confessions. That last episode for this season. We will be back for a season 2, but you guys, it's been a joy, a blessing to be here with you guys and to talk about some things that, you know, are never really talked about in the community. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you for season 2. I am Lala Nutia Hari.
I'm Calabria Hari.
I'm Ari Maria Hari.
See you guys. See you season 2.
See ya.
Bye.
I guess we made it to the finalists, but I'm done.
Right. Count to 3 is wow. You still hungry or something? Because you want more food?
Right. I was really rooting for them since they somehow made it to the final.
Licking everybody from the balls up. Like, but then you can't do PDA.
Oh. She put her coochie on his face. Like, she
On
sat
Ace's
on
face?
his face. She sat on his face.
The only genuine time where I could see that Hoodoo was taking accountability for anything was when Shelly was like, bitch, fuck you. Chris wanted Shelly. Ace wanted Shelly. You was already coupled up with Chris, and then you go ride Ace's face
Oh, that sounds...
in front of Shelly? What you was doing, you not dumb.
Jeremiah truly believes Ace was jealous of him.
I didn't know she was a Virgo, so it was given something else. She with his Aries, it was very much like, oh, it's already over.